Hi, my name's Mark, one of the pastors at Trillium. Gallup came out with a poll recently. It's one they do every year. They survey the American public to find out which professional groups have the most trust, which are the most trustworthy in the American public's eyes. And for the 20th straight year, nurses came out number one. And not only did they come out number one, they were head and shoulders ahead of any other group. Clergy, sadly, were right in the middle of the pack, just above auto mechanics and lawyers and such, real estate agents. It's a kind of a big fall for clergy, because at one time we were up there with the nurses and the medical doctors and the primary school teachers in trustworthiness. But over the years, we've seen clergy poll numbers in Gallup survey decrease. And I suppose that's not to be unexpected. I mean, Gallup says it's partly caused by the just lowering of religiosity in the culture. You know, as religion becomes less prominent in the culture, clergy's trustworthiness falls with that. But it also mentioned that, of course, the scandals that have plagued clergy over the last 30 or 40 years. You know, the evangelical pastors, the megachurch scandals in the 80s and 90s, and then there's the pedophilia problems within the Catholic priesthood, and then, well, we hear stories of clergy malfeasance here and there, and it just adds up to a declining trustworthiness in clergy generally. Clergy, it seems, have failed in their stewardship of their relationship with the public. People see clergy as, to some degree, self-serving, and that means the esteem and trustworthiness of us as a group has fallen with it. You know, we think of the term stewardship as being associated with wildlife preserves or as with some environmental project, but the term stewardship has a much broader and wider meaning. It means the careful and responsible management of something entrusted to one's care. And that can be pretty much anything in life, anything that's been entrusted to our care. Like our marriages. Our marriage has been entrusted into our care. The person's heart, who we love most in the world, has been entrusted into our care. And it's really important that we bring an aspect of stewardship, that careful and responsible management of the relationship, so that we can properly care for what's been entrusted with us. If we fail to bring an aspect of stewardship to a relationship with our spouse, it's going to put a huge pressure, weight upon the relationship. It may actually fracture the relationship. You know, as parents, we have an aspect of stewardship in how we raise our children. We need to bring a careful and responsible management to our children's growth so that they can flourish. A friendship has an aspect of stewardship to it. Something's been entrusted into our care, and if we fail to exercise that care, the relationship might fracture too. You know, if someone calls you but you don't return their call, and you set appointments to meet but you don't show up, that's going to put a huge pressure on the relationship. The stewardship of the relationship is so critical. You know, we have a relationship with time. Time management is such an important aspect of life. If we want to be highly productive, highly effective people, then we need to bring this aspect of stewardship to our use of time. The church has been entrusted with the mission of Jesus. Jesus has put into the care of the church something very important, which means the church has an aspect of stewardship, careful, responsible management of Jesus' mission. What is Jesus' mission? To teach people how to live out holy love with each other. And if the church is perceived as self-serving, or if clergy of the church are perceived as self-serving, it undermines the whole point of what's been entrusted into their care. Self-serving certainly works against holy love. And it's not just clergy and churches that struggle with this. Any individual or any group that is perceived as self-serving enjoys less esteem and less trustworthiness from the public. There are a lot of groups, professions below clergy in the Gallup poll, professions like auto mechanics and real estate agents and lawyers and politicians are all perceived as even being more self-serving than clergy. And it's pretty simple to figure this all out. If you're more self-serving, then you're less engaged in the careful and responsible management of your relationships with others, which gets us back to nurses. Why are nurses held in such high esteem, such trust by the public? And I think it's because people perceive nurses as being able in the moment to sometimes put their own self-interest aside and be present to the care and concern of others. Nurses are perceived as being less self-serving than other professions and more other-serving in their care and concern for other people. And that's really the secret right there, isn't it? For any one of us. If we want to be perceived be more trusted by others, then it's a commitment to bring about an aspect of stewardship to our relationships with them, to bring a careful and responsible management of our relationship with other people, whoever they may be. For the church and clergy, it means we need to become more like nurses in order to regain the trust that we once had with the public at large.